I was an immigrant twice before I turned 13. But one of the things that characterizes the immigrant experience is that you want to assimilate, and you, especially when you're a child, you don't want to be different. So by the time I grew up and had children of my own, my daughter said to me at one time, she had an assignment in school. She was supposed to interview an immigrant. I think she was around 10. And I said, well, you should really talk to me because I'm an immigrant. She looked at me and she was like, you're not an immigrant. You're American. I said, no, I really did come here as a child. And she was just astounded. And I think that I was also astounded on some level because I realized that my children knew nothing about my background. And even though I certainly did not go through the Holocaust, thank God, I think in a way I had inherited that feeling of not wanting to look at the past, of wanting to just forge forward and live my life in the present and in the future and forget the past, because the past was not easy. So here I am, I've written a memoir, and I'd like to echo what Joan was talking about, that writers don't always know exactly what they're going to be writing. In fact, when I started writing my memoir, this memoir was first a cookbook. And it was entitled A Dozen Eggs, and I was going to write a different egg recipe, and next to each egg recipe there was going to be a little short story about a different member of my family. Now, within about 10 days' time, I realized that this was not a cookbook, and that I thought these were short stories about my family. And then within a month, I realized that, no, these were not just short stories. I had a book. And then I thought, this is a novel. I'm not really going to talk about what happened. I'm just going to fictionalize it. Well, the more I wrote, the more the past came up. And soon enough, I realized I was really writing memoir. Of course, I had no idea what that entailed. I have to thank Frank McCourt. When I was about a third of the way through the book, I went to a Frank McCourt reading. And I was in line. I did not have an agent at the time. And I'm thinking to myself, I love Frank McCourt. And I'm thinking, maybe I could ask him to refer me to his agent. Real chutzpah, don't you think? I didn't even know him. So I get up to him, and he signs the book, and I said to him, I'm in the middle of writing a memoir. And he looks up at me and he goes, have you gone through the pain yet? And I just went like, huh? I didn't know what he was talking about. And I said, wish me luck. He goes, good luck to you. Good luck to you. Well, no sooner did I get into writing more, and all these memories came up. My family is all gone now. And it was really a very trying experience. It was very painful. It was also very joyous to write this. But the times that were painful, I reminded myself of what Frank McCourt said, which was, have you gone through the pain? And that actually sustained me, which is amazing that we can say so few words to one another and make such great impact. Anyway, about the book. It is definitely a memoir, and I think that there's one thing about Jews in particular that is amazing. I think all people want to remember, but in particular, I think we as Jews have always had a very deep need to connect to our roots, because let's face it, we have been in the diaspora until the state of Israel was born, for over 3,000 years. So if we forget our roots, we're in trouble. And some of our roots, some of the past things are not always joyous, but somehow that makes us stronger. And one other thing I want to say about writers and sort of the writing process. Most people think that one should write about what you know. But I agree with Yale Doctorow that you don't know everything, you just know a little bit. Even when you're writing memoir, in theory you should know everything, but in reality, you really don't know what memory is going to crop up. So I really write about what I don't know so that I can discover. Because if I write everything that I know, then I'm bored. So I wanted to have that feeling of excitement and discovery. So let me just show you some of the characters in my book. In Romania, my Uncle Max decided to have a Purim party, and this was actually a dangerous thing to do. My family, they asked me, well, what do you want to be? And I looked at a book, and I loved this feathered headdress, and so I became a Native American chief, but I had no idea what that was. The feathered headdress really appealed to me. These are my parents. That's their wedding picture in Communist Romania. They got married during their lunch hour and then they went back to work. This is my father shortly after he came back from the war. He had spent 4 years during the war in various concentration camps, labor camps. But then at the very end of the war, he and a whole bunch of other Jews ran to the Russian side. The front became closer, and the Russians promptly deported them to the Gulag. So my father spent another 4 years in Russia as a POW before he came home. Now this picture right here is a photograph that my father took of me, unbeknownst to me, right around the time when, after I found out that I'm Jewish, and I decided that I wanted to learn more about that. And my grandfather sent me to a rabbi who was going to teach me Hebrew. And this was really, really an act of courage on my grandfather's part. And I was really terrified. I actually took the walk alone. And in that little bag, I was carrying Tanakh. And this is a portrait of me that my cousin Mimi, who was a very well-known painter, did of me. And I was already a pioneer in grade school, but it was really living a double existence. In school, I was very proud to be a pioneer, and I was indoctrinated into all the communist thinking. But at home, I was really a Jewish little girl in hiding. When we were emigrated, this is my father and his director partner. This is their goodbye photograph. They knew they were never going to see each other again. My mom, right before we left, she was selling all of our belongings at the flea market. She was thrilled, as you can tell, that she knew that we were leaving. It didn't matter that we were leaving with nothing. And this is us in Haifa Harbor, arriving in Israel in 1961. And this is my dad, a self-portrait that he took with the Statue of Liberty. His dream did come true. We did arrive in America. Thank you very much.